Hey guys, thanks for tuning in. We're working on a 2018 Infiniti Q50 Red Sport, and we're going to be retrofitting some HKS blow-off valves. We have a DIY kit to try to do this on the cheap. So we're going to start this side. Supposedly is a little bit harder than the other side. It's a little more cramped. But if you look right here, this coupler right here has to be removed, and it looks to be 7 mil. All right, so we got the owner of the car here helping. He's gonna remove the 12 mil bolts that hold down this heat exchanger.
So to remove it, you gotta take off these two 12 mil bolts here and these two up here. And then you can kind of just lift it. You also take off these harnesses so they don't get pulled on. You lift it, you pull out this silicone coupler and you put in a new one.
And FYI, those clamp bolts worked 7 mil. So we're gonna try to go after the 7 mil throttle body clamp. All right, so there's the coupler removed.
We're gonna replace it.
All these harnesses and hoses have enough slack that you could easily do that. All right, so we're using a little bit of dielectric grease just to give us a tiny bit of lubrication. Just barely anything to help slip it on. Okay, so we're gonna try inserting this now. We're gonna tighten these up now. Should be able to just get to them with a small wrench here. All right, so we got the clamps bottomed out. Now we're gonna bring the blow-off valve over and do a test fit. We're gonna aim it up, and the vacuum line is gonna be aiming down. So it's possible to insert that without much fuss, and it's not really binding up on anything. So, and we have clear access to where the vacuum line goes, so we could probably just put the clamp on that and call this good. So we're gonna go after the vacuum line next. If you look right on the back of the manifold here, I think this is gonna be in our way. So we'll get that backed out of the way, tuck it under for now. Okay. Now, if you look right here, this line has to come off. Got that down. As you saw, I avoided getting an angled needle nose and removing all this cowling. I just took a pry bar from this side and pushed the clamp to force it to rotate so that we can get regular pliers on it from the side. Seemed to make things a little easier. Okay, so I got that lowered slightly, but it's really tough to get all the way down. So I used this plastic tool here and shoved it in there and kind of banged it down, but it's still barely moving. It's gripping really good. So I'm gonna use a tiny bit of penetrating lube just to get it down and off. We can clean that up after with brake cleaner. There you go. It popped off. I think you guys saw that. So basically a tiny bit of PB Blaster went inside there. And it looks like this nub is plastic, so be careful. It's not metal reinforced. The ideal T size is gonna be 3/8, and the output should be 1/4 inch. Okay, so we're inserting the 3/8 hose onto the T, and we'll clamp this down. So, like I said, the ideal T size is going to be 3/8 on one end, and then 1/4 inch out, and then you're going to use an adapter or a Y. We're using a little bit larger line just due to the supplies we have at the moment. And if you saw there, yes, we had a little bit of electrical tape just to fill that gap, but that's definitely not gonna stay there. We're gonna change out these lines. The final lines that are going to the blow-off valves are OEM Continental. Good quality. So now we wanna leave this line just long enough. I know it's kind of ghetto looking, but You're not gonna see it. We're gonna just wrap it around so that it just definitely doesn't kink. Tuck it behind the manifold and then just stick it right onto the nub that was originally there. We're done on this side. That T fitting going to the manifold is taken care of. And we have this line now coming up. We're gonna adapt it so that it can go into the blow-off valves. So for now, I'm gonna focus on this side and get the blow-off valve mounted on the passenger side. And we'll come back when we're doing the final connection. All right, so now we've run the vacuum lines over and we're connecting to our T and we're pretty much done at this point. Just gonna start cleaning up, but we have the line from the front going into our T adapter, cut a couple of zip ties up, and we've pretty much mounted it. This is in place. So we'll get things put back together, and then when we're testing it on the road, we'll do a couple of sound clips. Here's a couple partial throttles just so you can hear it from the interior. It carries quite a bit. Quite loud. So anyway,
We broke traction there at 70 miles an hour.
Yeah. Alright, so we might as well conclude the video there. Definitely worth it for the money you spent, right?
Oh, absolutely.
Under 200 bucks?
Yeah, the whole kit cost me, so it was 150 for the 2 blow-off valves and like $30 in materials.
Okay, and about realistically for the average person, 2.5 hours?
Let's call it 3.
3 hours,
Yeah.
just because of the amount of room behind the intake manifold, all in all. So anyway, that will conclude this video. Thanks for watching. Consider subscribing for more content like this.